and welcome back to my channel. Today we are off to Your Horse Live, but it was an early start, so we grabbed a McDonald's on the way, but everyone seemed to be doing the same thing, so we had to wait quite a while for our food to come, but then we had the hour's drive down to Stoneleigh Park, get parked up and get our bags checked, and then we were finally in. So I was spending the day with my friends Charlie and Ali. They are known on Instagram as Keeping Track and Ali Approved. We just got tickets for one day, but we definitely needed to do two. I'm also well aware that my filming wasn't fantastic. I honestly thought I got so much footage, and it turns out I just didn't. So I can only apologise, but I will definitely get better at that. But yes, within 5 minutes of arriving, Charlie had made her first purchase of the day, and we had planned to watch all the demos in the afternoon, so we spent all morning wandering around the shops. Some of the halls were quite chilly, so this solarium was quite a good find. It was quite nice to enjoy the event with not particularly looking for anything. It was just sort of a browsing session. We did spend quite a bit, but I will show you what I bought at the end of the video. I just loved that this Sue Carson had the unicorn saddle, and I won't lie, I would totally wear that. We also had a bit of a fangirl moment because Charlotte Dujardin was just wandering around, and I thought it was quite nice that she could do that. Checking out Thermatex's new products. And then we went to my favourite shop, which was the Emily Cole stand. Now, I'm absolutely obsessed with stationery, like literally pens and books and notebooks and diaries. I'm obsessed. And Emily Cole has this whole collection of different notepads for different things, like to learn your dressage tests, to show plan your whole year, plan your whole day. This is the big show planner, and it literally has everything on there. It was of course inevitable that I was going to buy something. So my first purchase of the day was a 2022 diary. I want to get a little more organised and not just be stuck to my phone. We then headed over to eGloves, and we actually made a couple of reels for them while we were there, and we all got ourselves a pair of gloves, so that's cool because they've got touchscreen on them. And then we headed to the other hall. Now I swear they had more this year because it just seemed way more spread out and a lot more going on, so that's quite exciting, but we didn't realise you could download a map. Now that's Laura, she works for Equilibrium and she's our friend. Now this is the Stella head collar that I was talking about on Instagram. It was done in a study between Dr. David Marlin and Equilibrium, and it was quite scary actually how a normal leather head collar doesn't break like we think it should, but I will go into that a bit more later on because we do go to watch the talk. So I grabbed myself the head collar, a bucket cozy, and the Equilibrium Trizone boots. Now, after making a purchase like that, it was definitely time to sit down and have a drink. We found these lovely ladies that had a nice little selection of gins, and we stopped for a bit of a tipple before heading outside and spotting this. Now, this is gorgeous. Just look at this. That goes into a double bed, and then you've got the horse compartment where Charlie is, and then it's got octaves on the wall. The shower was absolutely huge, and it had a toilet in it. It also had like a microwave, a massive wardrobe, and a mini fridge. So I thought that that's definitely a goal for the future. To have a horse box like this in the future would be incredible. And then we moved into another hall. Now these were more outside, and they kind of gave you the vibe of it being more car boot tack sale. So there was definitely some bargains to be had in there. But there was also the horse and country stage. They were doing talks. I think this was Lee Pearson, and this is where Laura was going to be later on, and it was so cool to see her name on the board. Proper proud friends. Now we were literally so tired from all the shopping and walking around that we ended up just sitting on the floor to have our lunch. My bag was getting so heavy, but I will do a tack haul when I get home and show you everything that I bought. Now, I don't know about you, but when I come to these events, I just absolutely love looking around the trailers and the horse boxes. You will catch on to that. But the new Eiffel Williams are really smart. Like, we couldn't believe how much space was in the front, and I absolutely love the like new window designs. Kind of gives it a bit of a spaceship vibe. Charlie was really sold and is now looking to upgrade her trailer. But there's so many more settings on them as well. And like I said, the windows are huge, so I feel like they can see a lot more looking out, and there's more room to store your stuff in the front. Who is ready for some cuteness? Oh my god, this guy is so cute. He is the paratroopers mascot, and he had his own little uniform. He was just adorable. It was then time to head back to the horse and country stand, and there's our friend Laura again, and this is the talk I've been raving about the stellar head collar. So you've got Laura, and then you've got Dr. Di in the middle, who is a trauma doctor, and of course Jenny Rudel from Horse and Country. They basically spoke about all the research they did into the head collar, why it is important to have such a head collar that breaks. I had to mute what they were saying because of course I couldn't film the whole entire half-an-hour talk. We would literally be here forever, and I'm pretty sure there'd be some sort of copyright to it, but I thought I'd do my best to explain. But they did a big study, and it basically showed that so many horses and people were both being injured from just head collars. Graphic warning, these are some gruesome pictures. But this is the sort of stuff that Dr. Di deals with. She was talking about horses catching themselves on gates and getting stuck, and people were always getting injured. This is the study, so they grabbed all the different types of head collars and they were adding weights to them basically, and it was really scary how much force every head collar was taking before it broke. So yeah, definitely something to look into. I'll leave a link in the description. We then had to literally charge all the way over to the main arena to watch the demos. I couldn't film much of Carl and Charlotte's because you weren't allowed basically, but this was a little bit of her warming up before. The demo was actually really good, really informative, and it was really interesting to see how they train at home. But then we had the boys, so we had a demonstration from Oliver Townend and Jeff Billington, but with Oliver Townend being world number 1 right now, it was quite an introduction. So Jeff had this, I think it was a 5-year-old stallion that had quite an exuberant back end, and then Ollie was on this younger bay horse that basically this event ended up being like their first show together. He was saying he's not had it very long and they've not done anything, so it was quite a big thing that he was there. First thing they did was classic Jeff Billington, how many strides can you fit in between a fence, and then they moved on to sort of riding a course, but they were very good at explaining what they were doing with different types of horses, even though they were doing the same course. How many strides you put in, where you're sort of setting your lines up for the different type of animal that you're riding, or horse, you know what I mean. So it was actually really informative, but I have had to keep it muted because when these two start bantering, it gets a little bit risque. There was quite a lot of innuendos. At one point, Oliver pointing out that he's surprised they even ever get invited back. They then put the fences up to sort of a much bigger height, and Ollie said that this was actually the biggest that horse had ever jumped. Jeff's horse actually jumped sort of 130s, 40s, 50s, and made a joke that if Jeff had a fence down in here, then it would obviously be quite funny and quite embarrassing. So you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Yeah, we go through here. Do pole. So that was quite funny actually. If you ever get a chance to watch these two, I do highly recommend it. They're very, very funny when they're together. But that sadly brought us to the end of our day. It was time to go home. It got dark so quickly. I hope you enjoyed the little insight into our trip to Your Horse Live. please make sure you commented, liked, hit the subscription button. We are off to Stars next week, and I am going to make sure I get so much footage and much better footage. I honestly thought I filmed so much for this day, but clearly I just didn't. So yeah, bear with me, these should get better. So make sure you've subscribed, and then we can see how we go. So I couldn't let you go without showing you a quick haul of what I managed to buy. I got the 2022 Emily Cole diary, the Stella head collar, and I grabbed that bucket cozy as well. The pink e-gloves, managed to grab some cheap little hay nets and a free sample of chaff, and then of course my black Equilibrium tri-zone boots. So I'm excited to use those.